Former President Trump set to answer to charges over his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. His legal team preparing their defense as the impact ripples through the race for the White House.
He's being indicted for free speech.
This is not politics, this is crime.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is The Four.
Former President Trump has been summoned to appear before a federal judge in Washington, D.C. tomorrow afternoon. That arraignment has followed the unsealing of a 45-page indictment that accuses Trump of pushing election fraud claims to undermine democracy and cling to power. Prosecutors say Trump's lies fueled the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Welcome, everyone, to The Four this afternoon. I'm Alex Savage.
And I'm Christina Rendon. Let's get right to our political reporter, Greg Lee, who is monitoring the latest developments as the political world shifts its focus to that federal courtroom. Greg.
Christina, Alex, the former president's arraignment on these latest charges scheduled for 1 p.m. our time tomorrow. This is the third criminal indictment for Mr. Trump in just over 4 months. He's pleaded not guilty at the two previous arraignments, and he's expected to do the same tomorrow. He has the option to appear virtually, and at this point, it is not clear if he will take that option or show up in person. Prosecutors will outline the 4 conspiracy and obstruction counts he faces related to the alleged lies and misinformation pushed by him and his team to remain in power. Law enforcement in D.C. coordinating with several agencies to prepare for that appearance. Trump continues to maintain his innocence, blasting the Justice Department, calling the actions political. His defense team preparing their arguments as well.
He's being indicted for free speech. He's being indicted for objecting to the way that the 2020 election was carried out.
That someone is running for president can't be used as an excuse for criminal conduct. If that were the case, anybody charged with a crime would just file for office. But I do think that the sooner this is done, the better.
I spoke to South Bay Congresswoman there, Zoe Lofgren, today, who was part of the House January 6th Select Committee. She and other members said the charges filed are in line with their year-long investigation into the attack on the Capitol. In fact, they recommended 2 of the charges, conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and obstruction of an official proceeding. And this, of course, on the backdrop of Trump leading the pack of Republican candidates running for the White House in 2024. Christina, Alex?
And Greg, to that end here, obviously one of the overarching questions is how are these upcoming trials for the former president and the pending charges likely to affect his campaign?
Yeah, in the short term, Alex, he's fundraising off this indictment, and he's likely to see a bump off the attention. In the long term, trial dates have been set for March 2024 and May 2024 so far. That's smack dab in the middle of the primary season, and we could very well see Trump flying between campaign rallies and courthouses.
A series of civil and criminal trials going on, which are going to hurt him with a general election electorate, despite his absolute ownership of the Republican primary electorate. What all of this means in toto is, look, this is an inflection moment in American politics. This is a foundational shift in our body politic.
As we've been saying, the latest polls have shown Trump leading the Republican pack by more than 30 points and in a dead heat when put head-to-head with President Biden.
Well, Greg, how are President Biden and the White House reacting, maybe as well as some of his Republican challengers?
Yeah, the White House sticking to their playbook from the 2 previous indictments, which is to say nothing. They continue to refer everyone to the Justice Department. As for Republicans, many lawmakers have stood in support of Trump. Many House GOP members echoing his comments that they believe this is politically motivated. Some of the other candidates in the Republican primary shared the sentiment, while others denounced Trump, like Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson. Today, we heard from Trump's former vice president and running mate Mike Pence. Speaking to reporters, he said he wishes it didn't come to this, but again, condemned Trump's actions.
Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear. Look, our country is more important than any one man. Our Constitution is more important than any one man's career.
We will watch closely tomorrow. And now there's potentially more legal trouble for Mr. Trump on the horizon. A Georgia prosecutor is expected to seek a grand jury indictment in the coming weeks related to his alleged efforts to overturn his election loss in that state. So more to come. Live in the newsroom, Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Greg, thank you.